It's not just a place to live, it's a community to join. Residents are encouraged to love their neighbors as themselves.
You look at the deep end and you just fully like diving board cannonballed in, and here you are.
We want to be the best, and we want our clients to have a great experience. That's really our goal. We strive to do that.
What has been one of the most challenging pieces of the last 39 years that you've had to like look in the eyes and get through? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spengel, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Before we get into the show, I need to remind you that today's episode is brought to you by my friends at NCW. You might remember when I had Dan Mattingly on the show talking about how they built a national staffing and recruiting company over the past 25 years, specializing in skilled trades. They are looking for new members to join their team. If you're looking for work in recruiting, sales, or general business operations, you need to check out teamncw.com. Not only have they been voted a top workplace by Indy Star, listed on the IBJ Fast 25, and featured on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest private growing companies in America, but I also have a personal laundry list of friends that work at NCW and absolutely love it. To learn more and check out their open roles, check out teamncw.com and tell them you heard about it on Get In during your interview. Today I'm joined by Isaac and Mike Duke, who lead Duke Homes. Now, Duke Homes is a family-driven, custom-designed home builder here in Barkersville, Center Grove area, just south of Indianapolis, and they have nearly 40 years of experience shaping communities. They are known for their award-winning work on neighborhoods like Aberdeen, Indiana's first wellness lifestyle community. The Dukes balance tradition and innovation while keeping strong ties to their Hoosier roots that run 8 generations
My
deep.
kids make 9, yeah.
You're 9 generations deep. Together, they've created homes that are all about people and timeless designs. We're going to learn about the evolution of this business and building homes here in Central Indiana over the last 40 years. Talk about the legacy that runs deep here in the Hoosier State, and talk a little bit more about Indiana's first wellness lifestyle community at Aberdeen. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Nate.
We're happy to be here.
Yeah.
Guys, this is exciting. We literally got into talking family lineage before we started recording.
We did.
And your kids the grandkids right now are 9th generation Hoosiers.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I've learned, especially as I've traveled around Southern Indiana, is that family farms, once they hit the 100-year, like the century mark, they can get plaques. Once they hit 150 years, I think they get plaques. And there might be one for 200 years too. I'm not sure if we've gotten there yet. I think it's like we're getting close to being there with some of them. So you guys are the proud owners of a multi-generation family farm here in Indiana. How many years?
Revolutionary War families have been in the area, so that's where I grew up. That's my roots.
Yeah.
Farming and always love that. Love the land. Love our area. Feel like that's where God put us.
Amen.
Today I don't. I think it was 1994 is the last year I did all the combining and planting corn and soybeans. So today my dad had retired from a lumber company. He was a CFO and my younger brother, they run the farm now. I still have some land, and we have a bunch of cattle. The grandkids do show steers and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't get to do the day to day. And my dad and brother are keeping that going right now. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
How big's your family? Like how many brothers and sisters?
I just have one brother.
Okay, so we got a home builder and we have the farmer.
Yeah.
That's talk about just like the craftsman. That's pretty cool. I do have to know, like Center Grove today, you think big high school, obviously Carson Steele, previous guest of the podcast.
Yeah.
Known for being a big school.
Yeah.
I mean, when did you graduate from Center Grove?
I was 1982 at Center Grove, but I grew up back at the Hoosier hysteria. I vividly remember 1972 when we got to the semi-state and Guy Ogden hit the shot, to move us into the to the final 8.
And this is to the final 8.
This was just when it was the real basketball tournament.
There weren't any different classes.
Yeah, no classes.
No,
so.
and people, there are some people that really hate class basketball.
Yeah, I'm one of those.
There you go.
But it was so cool because that was the whole community went to the games. I mean, you had to have reserved seats. If we went to a regional, we had to have everybody went to the lottery from the community into the gym to see if you got tickets pulled so you can go to the regional.
Isn't this crazy?
I mean, it's so different. We all followed the buses. Everybody decorated their cars. So I grew up around that. Now I still love our our school and our community.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
And the area has always been agricultural, especially,
Yeah.
back then. And
Yeah.
Your parents went to Center Grove and
Yeah, my grandparents went to Center Grove.
grandparents. So it's
Dang. How
So-
big was like your graduating class from Center Grove? In the
Mine
80s?
was 364. So we were
That's
we were
still
at that
decent
time
size.
period where we were like in one of the fastest growing schools in the state at that time. So
What are the
it just picked
big
up.
What are the big industries that were fueling the south side of Indianapolis?
Well, like I said, we're one of the hidden gem areas right there too, because we're so close to Indianapolis. We're just south of Indianapolis. We're very accessible to the airport. Then you've got Bloomington, where you have our Hoosiers down there, and then Columbus. So you've got Cummings there in Columbus. You got Cook and some of the other things at Bloomington. We got Eli Lilly here on the south side. Just access to downtown is so much easier.
Yeah.
So-
And you're technically in Johnson County, right?
Yes, we're Johnson County.
I always thought it was interesting too, but Center Grove still plays in like the county tournaments and stuff. Like it's very interesting dynamic on the south
Yeah,
side, and
yeah.
like and Southsiders are really proud to be from the south side, which I
Mm-hmm.
love. Similar to like they don't maybe get as much love as like the north side of Indianapolis.
yep,
Like the
yep,
Carmel and the
yep,
Fishers, and
yep.
maybe not as many like national awards for XYZ things.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that Southsiders are like, yeah, you're close to Columbus, you're close to Bloomington,
yeah.
the lakes that are down there.
close
Like,
to
Yeah.
Nashville, Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brown
one
County.
of our favorite
yeah.
spots.
Mhm.
So I have to say, Mike, what started you down this road of custom home building?
Well, I have a degree from Indiana University, finance degree in real estate. My desire was always to be involved in agriculture and helping run the farm in some manner. By the time I got out, me and some guys were talking about buying a house and fixing up, and just selling, just trying to figure out, we're all young, trying to figure out what we're going to do, hustle and all that. And my dad says, why don't you just build one? So this is really cool, but one of our farms that we farm, he was the chairman of the board of the old Bargersville State Bank, and I ended up getting 100% loan to do a spec, and it was only on 2 pages. It was all the bank docs. Today they're like a book. But I built that and sold it before it was done, and it just sort of took off. So very blessed.
What was that based on? Like you go in, this is 1986.
Yeah.
You go into Bargersville State Bank.
Yeah.
Is that still around?
No.
You go in there though and you say, I want to build a home.
Yeah.
I just graduated. I don't have a ton of experience
Yeah.
necessarily, but
Yeah.
like, why did they give you the money?
Well, I mean, my dad was in the industry, with what he did at Carly Lumber Company, and growing up around that, my mom was a controller too at a small lumber company in Bargersville, and just family and
reputation.
So my dad helped co-sign on it too, of course, but yeah, no, that.
But they
that was a
gave you
big
that
help.
opportunity, and that's one special piece of smaller communities.
It's different now in banking. Back then, they would do that kind of stuff. Today, it's just so much more regulated.
Yeah,
It's a lot
And
tougher.
It is interesting too, but like even working with like regional banks versus working with like Chase.
Small
Like
communities,
Chase is
yeah.
like it's like if the numbers don't math, then like we don't do it.
Yeah.
Versus if you find some of these smaller regional banks or
Yeah.
local banks,
Yeah.
they're more willing to know. I think bet on people's character a little bit.
Yeah,
So
they
take a
are. They
bet.
want to be in the community more.
So
yeah.
did you build this house by yourself?
I'm smart enough to know that I'm not going to swing the hammer, but I was fortunate growing up. I used to doodle floor plans in elementary. I didn't know why. I did have some architectural drafting classes in high school, so I did like that growing up in the industry but yeah, I was
He knows
fortunate
his skill
to know.
sets, right?
Yeah,
And
I was fortunate to know people that know things and things, so I was just able to make some good connections and yeah, it was awesome. I like growing things, so this is sort of similar, growing a house.
Yeah. Were you nervous? Like your dad goes in to help you build this thing. You're 100% from the
Yeah.
like if something breaks or it doesn't work right or you don't get it built or like the foundation is uneven, like you're on the line for it.
I believe everything I should do always should be done with excellence. I mean, I believe that, that's what God's word says. So wanted to do that. Maybe I was too overconfident, but I knew I knew people that was able to help me.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't afraid to ask some questions and so on. So, but then after it started taking off and I started having clients coming in, it's like, you're sitting there in the office, they come in, they have no idea who who I am, but they start seeing our signs and they come in as like, they look at you. Well, you're just a 23 or 24-year-old snot-nosed kid. How are you going to build our house?
Yeah.
So it was difficult in the beginning, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, you had a lot of grind, but you had to put in a lot of hours. So I just had to do a lot of learning.
Did you know you wanted to be an entrepreneur from the
Oh
beginning?
yeah, I was always pitching ideas to my dad.
Yeah.
All that stuff too. So I have the entrepreneurial mindset.
What would you say to the entrepreneurs that might be listening that are maybe still on the sideline and not quite to the point to go and take out this bank loan to build this house that maybe will come together? And what would you say to them to get them off the sideline?
You got to take some chances. And, but they need to be calculated well, and you need to have good people around you to say, hey, if this is really stupid, they're going to tell you, not just let you go and do something you shouldn't do. Yeah. But I think it's just surrounding yourself with good people and getting some feedback and being willing to take a chance.
I think that it takes some serious courage, especially I feel like today everyone wants to be an entrepreneur and it's like a side hustle. But this is. You graduate college and you're like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. How quickly did you know that this was going to be a multi-decade career path for you?
Yeah. I mean, you're just starting out. You're not really thinking that far ahead. But my thought was I always wanted to take care of everybody and do everything right. So it wasn't about that squeezing every dollar you could out of something. You always want to do it right. So if there's something that needs corrected, you take care of it. You take care of people. If you take care of people, they're going to, the word's going to get around. You're going to have good word of mouth, and so I think we've been very blessed by doing that.
Isaac, what do you remember about your dad, growing this business as you were growing up, and did you know that you wanted to get into the family business right away?
We celebrated 35 years.
4 years ago. Yep.
4 years ago, and we threw a surprise celebration for him. And I remember telling everyone that was at that looking back, it was very impressive to see someone who spent so much time invested into building a business, but who was also somehow always there for all of our sporting events, who was always there for us, teaching us things, in 4-H, helping us, raise cattle and do projects. So it was great to grow up with a role model who knows how to work hard and at the same time knows how to be there for their family. And it was great just kind of getting to observe that, being on the job sites. When I was in high school, I finally got to be out there and kind of cleaning up on sites and working through the summer.
He says, finally got to. I'm sure that's how you said it when you were in high school, too. I finally get to, Dad. No. Yeah, I can't wait.
I was able to job shadow some of the different people, but I never had the mindset of, I'm going to come back here and make this a career. That was never a thought.
Well, I want to get to that in 1 second. I want to dive into what you said there about a lot of times in, this is 2025, the hustle culture, the never stop working. And I can be guilty of it too. There'll be times that I'll just, start working and not stop working 8 to 8 or whatever. Yeah. What would you say, and a lot of that can be the Achilles heel of some entrepreneur. How many of the most famous entrepreneurs do you know that have had 2, 3 plus marriages? Mm-hmm. Their kids hate them. All these different things. I think I just finished Steve Jobs' biography, and I think his daughter still to the day he died did not like him. They did not get along.
Yeah.
I think multiple wives, all this whole thing. What do you say to entrepreneurs, or how do you think about prioritizing family, prioritizing your business? Not even though okay, I'm building this business to have something for my family and to provide and all these things, but still showing up for games and stuff.
Take that back to my faith. So I mean, when we started, my wife and I. Which we got married just about a year after I started, but the whole thing was doing, we're doing the business. Yeah, we got married, and then we're gonna wait a while to have kids, but somewhere or another we ended up having 2 kids before our first wedding anniversary because his older brothers are twins, identical twins. So doing that, starting a business, trying to still run the farm, and everything. Yeah, I was probably not the best help at that time.
You looked at the deep end and you said, let's do it. And you just fully diving board cannonballed in, and here you are.
Yeah, but I mean, that's me and my wife. When we started, we wanted this to be a ministry too. So whenever you do something like that, you want everything. You want to do everything with excellence. Do your best you can.
Yeah.
I did put a lot of time in. I mean, we would come home from church. We moved probably 7 or 8 times the first 7 or 8 years of marriage. So we come home from church. Hey, Marcia, take the kids and go to your mom's or my mom's. And the house is open. So
For like an open show.
yeah,
Right?
because we're going to sell that
realtors
house.
through
So we had to
and-
do that, get jobs. So I mean, we just had
Wow.
to hustle. We had
So
to
you're
do all
like
that
living
stuff.
in the houses.
It's like a model home that they, would live
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
No way.
So I mean, you just have to do that. But we're just we're very devoted and all that stuff to each other. So yeah, I mean, I can see how that can go awry for a lot of people.
quick,
But
yeah.
we're focused on the ministry side of it and God. So that keeps you together.
Yeah, it's like young Isaac's like got crayons on the wall, and Dad's like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
no, we have people
Yeah.
going in to see
That
later."
only happened twice.
Yeah, right. Okay, so how long into it, right, did you get to a sense of like stability? So you said you
Yeah.
moved 7 or 8 times within the first, because you needed the model home and you
Yeah,
were moving through
yeah,
there.
yeah.
When did it like all kind of shape up of like, okay, this is we're doing well here. Things are going right.
Yeah, you get glimpses of that, and then all of a sudden there's like the Gulf War or 9/11. So you can almost plan on at least once every 10 years there's going to be some downturn.
Yeah.
So doing that, and then we came into the 2006 time. We started noticing things, and I think just
What do you mean you started noticing?
well, it's just basically there were so many production homes being built, and what was happening was
Take us through that actually. Like
Yeah.
custom homes, semi-custom homes, production homes. What's the difference there, and what do you guys specialize in?
Yeah, well, we're a total custom design home builder. I mean, we have our architects on staff, so rarely do we ever build the same house twice. So, which that's really cool. So, I mean, we might do a Frank Lloyd Wright type style, some sort of Bauhaus, total, very modern type home, or farm. I mean, so that's what's really cool. Everything we do.
So like if I came in to build a home with you guys, it's like
Yeah.
you start from zero.
Correct.
It's like, okay, what do you want?
Yeah, we go through your wish list. We want to look at your site, make sure we're designing based off of that. Now, the difference with a production builder or semi-production, they already have plans already pre-priced. You're not going to change much. You might get to make some selections, but you're not going to say, hey, I want to add on here. They don't really let you do that. It's sort of frowned upon. So, that's just a little bit more cookie cutter, boom, boom, boom. Well, what was happening there in the mid-2000s, I mean, it was so easy to get a loan, how it was sort of set up, and so many young people were just buying, this is my theory anyway, we're just going and buying the production homes. They're not going to appreciate quite as much because they're still selling all of them so they're sort of there, they're sort of stuck a little bit. Then the rates started going up some too, and then a lot of them couldn't make mortgage payments.
Yeah.
But what was happening, people were just going and buying those homes, and they weren't going and buying like the older, nicer existing homes. And those people, the people in those existing homes were probably more of our clientele. So they weren't able to sell their homes, so they were having a hard time building ours.
Yeah.
And then you had the crash and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it was
take us
tough.
through that. Well, one, I think you think of like life cycle of when someone builds a home. It's like you probably have your starter home, maybe like an early family home, and then you get, I don't know, what's like that, like into your 30s or 40s when you think about building a home. Like I feel like there's not many 28-year-olds
Right.
that are like, second house, let's build one. But I mean, cool. Like would be awesome if you build something for longevity there. So you talk about they get kind of stuck in those like medium homes because of that whole thing, and then the crash comes, and you are a custom home builder through 2008, 2009.
Yeah. All through then.
What- I mean,
we're
how did you-
developing. We actually develop subdivisions too on top of that. So
Yeah.
you might not ever miss a payment, but your bank starts struggling because of a lot of the other situations they're in, and then they get sold. And then, then if you're a builder or developer, you're a bad guy to the new banks because they've sold all that portfolio at a reduced rate. Then they keep coming at you, and you're having to try to move things or pay things off. So it was a pretty miserable time. But
Yeah.
thank the Lord we made it through.
What age were you at during this 2008? Let's dive into there for a little bit.
15,
So
16?
you're like old enough to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
You're in the real estate business.
Yeah.
2008 comes.
And the nice thing about that was all the time where his older brothers just started college because they graduated high school in 07. So somewhere or another, through all that, we're able to get them all through college and do everything too. So that was huge. So.
Talk to me about when you realized that things weren't like this was going to be a challenging couple years?
Well, his older brothers, we were going to do like the high school's going to be able to do like an internship thing. And I was wanting to build a spec so they could be involved doing that. And we had several of them up at that time. It's like, hey, we better not do this. We better start trying to sell everything we already have. So we're able to do that, sell the specs we had, and try
when
to
you say
mitigate.
spec, what does that mean?
Building a home without a buyer.
It's a speculative build.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you build it and you put it like you're like, okay, we are now own this house. And you're like, now let's find a buyer.
Yeah, because
Versus,
some
like,
people don't want to go through the process, or they're just moving into town, so they'll look at some already built homes or partially built.
Okay.
Some people are, they'll want to buy a home now, right?
Yeah.
They can't go through the process, but it's still a custom home. It's higher quality. It has all these things.
We just make the selections versus they did.
Yeah. Which honestly, dude, sometimes I don't want that many choices.
Right.
You know? Like I want something that's
Just make
really
this
nice
easy.
and quality, but it's like if someone asks me like, yeah, what size do you want your countertop? I'm like, bro, I don't know. Okay. So you're going through this and kind of like the bottom falls out of real estate, I feel like. And you're sitting there, you're trying to move specs. So two questions here. One is like, take us through that timeline of the hardest times of it to where you saw light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And two, talk to us about the difference between being a developer or you're like the development arm of a neighborhood versus obviously the custom home builder is like you are constructing the homes.
Yeah.
Like we know that part. But what does being the developer entitle?
Well, I mean, we're not, you're young enough and you're not just doing it all by cash. So you have loans, if interest rates go up or
So you have like
you're
a
having to
loan
make payments on.
on the land.
Yeah.
Like where you're going to put this neighborhood.
Yeah. So you get stuck with monthly interest payments and so on too. Then we do large principal payments as we would sell lots.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it came to one of our neighborhoods right across from the Center Grove High School. I mean, we were closing almost 5 lots a month. It's going super well, and it's like boom, it just stopped, and you don't, then
And
maybe
still have to service that debt.
maybe you're selling 1 or 2 or 3 lots a year.
A year.
Yeah, I mean that's how it just abruptly stopped. I mean you're used to having, right now with Isaac in and all the stuff we do, you're counting leads, all that stuff. It's like your phone ringing, someone every day. It's like, well, I mean if you get someone calling once a month, it was like exciting. Yeah, it was
Man.
It was
what
the
did you
depression.
spend your
It
time
wasn't
doing? Like what was taking up the majority of your time back then?
working on business, trying to see things we can get better at, and just trying survival because we also had, we also have commercial sides and everything else too. So just trying to get rid of properties and do whatever you can to survive. So that's pretty much it.
Where
Doing
did
a lot
you-
of praying, I know that. So.
Amen. Where did you see the light at the end of the tunnel from that?
I think it started more it went through, in my opinion, close to 2012, 14 range. I mean, it was that long of a struggle time.
Wow.
And we did start another little development. I've always thought if you can have lots, you're going to probably have jobs if you have some really good lots. So we were able to work a deal with another, since being in our area where we're at, we either know the landowners pretty well. So, but yeah, we had someone who was wanting to sell their property, so we were able to work a deal on them, paying it off as we sold lots, and that kept us going right there. So that was good.
Is it hard to balance, like you come from the agriculture side, and a lot of times farmers do not like developers, builders. We talked about on the north side, oh my gosh. Okay, this is a true story. I was talking with Clint Mitchell of Estridge, and Sheridan, Baker's Corner up there, like way north, used our podcast. Like we put clips up. They used it at one of their town meetings talking about he's talked about in 10 years, he assumed that's just going to keep creeping north.
Yeah.
And they used it in a town meeting. And he texted me about it. I was like, oh my God, I never envisioned that our podcast would be used in a town meeting. But a lot of times, farmers don't.
No, that's a really good question.
It's a very good question. It's difficult,
especially with a farm background.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're I'm riding a fence on both sides, but the way we've looked at it, the way I've always looked at it, is our community's growing. We love our community. I'd much rather try to help shape and design it with as many nice things and areas which Isaac
in a
can talk-
thoughtful way. Right?
Yeah, in a thoughtful way that's going to be beneficial to our area. So it's coming. I'd rather be the one doing it versus someone from out of town coming in that doesn't really care about the community. and just trying to come in and make the quick buck and get out. We're trying to do it in a way that enhances.
Like, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
I don't even think that's not a good enough reason either, right? But doing it in a thoughtful way where, we talk about the farm background. Our newest neighborhood, Aberdeen, has an agri-hood component to it because we want to keep that feel to the area. Every subdivision that he's developed has been thoughtful in the way of trying to work it into the current landscape around the nature, the ponds, the trees, whatever, rather than just coming in and wiping everything out.
Aberdeen is super unique in the fact you talked about agri-hood, you talked about the healthy wellness community.
Lifestyle.
Talk to me through because this is kind of a unique concept.
Yeah.
So take us through how this project came to life.
Well, this might really tie what we were talking about together too. So in the 07-06 range, you were going to develop this large master planned community named the Abbey. It was going to be a golf community.
Yeah.
Was there a course there yet?
No, we had it planned. So
Wow.
we were working with a really well-known designer that loved the site and cut his price up front and didn't even want a down payment. We didn't even ask him that. He just loved the property so much.
So thankfully you didn't start that
Yes.
before the recession came. And then 10 years later, when he's gone through this survival mode and kind of coming back into this what's next mode, looking at where Aberdeen is today, we were talking about how do we make this special? How can we bring this back to the drawing board and how can we be thoughtful about this? How can we, one, make it different and unique, but two, how do we make it a place that benefits the community and helps the community thrive, the people who live there thrive? And when we were looking at different ideas that exist around the country, one that came to mind was a wellness lifestyle community. And then there were also these agri-hoods that existed. So an agri-hood is a neighborhood that is centered around a working farm within the neighborhood, which is really cool. You can have the farm to table living. You can have animals there that the kids go out and kind of they can pet, they can feed, whatever. Get out of their house, get out into nature.
Does one of the residents have to be the steward of the farm?
There's a farm manager that works at the farm.
No way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you just get instead of having a bocce ball or whatever in the center, you guys have a farm.
Right. Yep.
Okay. So you had seen these healthy wellness
lifestyle
communities and agri-hoods.
Yep.
And you said, let's take some pieces of that and bring this to what was almost a golf course.
Yep. And just beautiful property.
Right. Yeah. And what wellness lifestyle community means is we're trying to help connect people to their neighbors and to nature in some way and have an active lifestyle.
Yeah.
So if you look at, we could approach this from two different angles. We could talk scientifically, how that's beneficial, right? All the studies. We could talk from a faith perspective, why we think that is helpful. But research shows if you're out in green space or in the woods or near water, at least I think it's 15 minutes a day or 120 minutes a week. It shows you can get better sleep, you have less stress. It's better for you physically, mentally, psychologically. It's better for you. And so kind of trying to tie this into the community was important to us. And then same thing with social, right? Getting people connected to their neighbors so they're not just driving into their house, closing their garage door, and not talking to the people around them. That's not healthy.
Yeah, and sometimes with the neighborhood stuff too, it's kind of like that,
Yeah.
It's you're close, but you're you can maybe give them a wave or whatever,
Right.
but you're not. Versus I grew up in a small town, 1,600 people, and it was everyone, you had, you would ride your bike around the neighborhood and, stop at so-and-so's house, and then those people's grandparents would give you some candy and blah, 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 blah. It was, I don't know, I loved growing up like that. It was very, very cool.
Yeah.
And it does seem, I love Indianapolis. It's great. But it's I don't know, there's this whole thing of how often are you going to let a 10-year-old just walk around? And there's not a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
No, I think this feels like Bargersville, where it's located, is a very safe place. The neighborhood is in a safe place. Yeah. And then at night, it's a gated community as well, which I think helps people feel
okay,
more
so
secure.
What does it mean to be part of this Aberdeen community?
I think we say it's not just a place to live, it's a community to join.
Yeah.
And so I think what we would mean by that is we're trying to help it become a place. We're trying to foster, an environment where residents are encouraged to love their neighbors as themselves. And we do that in many different ways and provide different avenues for people to have spontaneous interactions, right? So we have monthly programmed activities. We have the neighborhood farm. We have a park with pickleball courts and tennis court. We have a dog park and then 2 miles of nature trails.
So it's almost like building a neighborhood that's also got like a little bit of small town, like Mayberry component to it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Which isn't easy to manufacture, right? It's, you know, if
It's
we talk
almost
about
impossible to manufacture.
Right.
Like, especially coming from the top down, like, you know, like, oh, you're all going to love each other. And like,
Right.
that's kind of hard to do unless you get the foundation
you hope
built.
you attract people who want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like, so is there, like, this might be a silly question, but it's like, usually when you think about joining a neighborhood, does your credit score align? Do you have a down payment? Like, la, 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 la. Do you have a job? But like, is there like an application process or how does that work?
No, it's just, I mean, anyone can move in there, right? We're not gatekeeping in any way who can be a part of the neighborhood, but we hope by casting the vision that the people who associate themselves with that same vision will end up there.
Yeah, like if you're a recluse, like you probably won't be attracted to live in the healthy living.
We'll get several of those, but hopefully, not a majority.
Yeah, and it's like, well, one, because it's just like a beautiful property, obviously. Like that part is something.
Yeah.
But I do think it's like, you're casting this out. You're like, this is a place for people that want to know their neighbors, that want to love their neighbors as themselves. Like that is very, very cool. Are there any other places like that in Indiana?
This is Indiana's first wellness lifestyle and agri-hood.
Yeah,
So,
we launched it in 2019, and at that point, we couldn't find any others that existed out there.
Was it the first domino, like getting the first person? Like how is that?
any neighborhood just getting started, usually a little difficult. And our neighborhood is out of the way, so it's not like you're just not driving past it to go to Morgantown or Brown County. It's out of the way. The southern end of the school district of Center Grove, just west of Bargersville. So sort of arranged and sort of worked some things out. We have Walnut Grove Elementary across the road, and we hosted the 2021 Homerama.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of people out there. So we do a lot of different events throughout the year too at the farm there. We actually have a big Christmas lights thing. We'll have like a Santa
There's a
Claus
competition.
Christmas
Yeah, all the
Kringle.
residents have the opportunity to light their home up, decorate, and then
Kind of like that movie,
Yeah.
Where it's like, I want my home to be seen from outer space. That's sick.
But we have harvest festivals, corn roasts, all sorts of things. We do have an active market at the farm. That we have like an event barn there. We actually have little gardens where we're growing things. We have our nice cow-calf herd is just right there off too. We have a couple retired rodeo horses. We have chickens being raising eggs right there. So the neighbors, and we actually have it open to the public, can come in and buy things at the little market now too. So that hopefully helps bring people in. We have a lot of farmers markets.
It's like a little farm store.
Yeah, it's a little farm market. We had we have little monthly farm markets too.
farmers markets.
Farmers markets. So last night there was a lot of tents and different things set up for that.
Wow.
Food trucks. So it's a cool place to go visit.
That's so unique, right? Because it's like sometimes, a neighborhood or anything like that will be like, it's, once a month they bring in food trucks, which is cool. Like that's part of it, and you're like taking steps toward it. But like building out this unique community where it's rooted in this, and like, it's like, okay, you're down, you said west of.
Just right out west of Bargersville, south of Center Grove High
and it's
School.
like, I don't know, where's you can just like run over and get some eggs at the farm store. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Like,
and we have other little treats too. I mean, we have an orchard growing. We have bees out there, so we're starting to grow our own honey. We grew a lot of popcorn last year, our own popcorn. So
I feel like today too, it's like the idea of having a green thumb is cool. Like the idea of gardening, very, very cool.
Yeah.
By practice, I'm horrible at it. I can't keep a house plant alive.
Yeah.
Like, so the idea of being able to like go over and pick something and kind of like a little bit of fruit to somebody else's labor,
And we sell beef in there too, so you can come in there and buy our ribeyes or whatever to go grill that night. So
I mean, that's
it's
so
beef that
unique.
we're actually raising right there.
I want to take a minute to tell you about my friends at JC Hart and the opportunity that they are giving to Get In listeners. They are offering summer savings of up to 2 months off of rent at these brand new communities, East Bank and Noblesville, Evansville, The Edge on the north side of Indy, and Wheelhouse in Westfield. If you're looking for an awesome place to live, you need to hit up my friends at JC Hart. Go to homeisjchart.com/Nate and check out all their cool properties. Or if you know someone that's looking for an apartment here in Central Indiana, send that link to them and JC Hart can take them on a personalized tour. You know me, I'm all about Indiana, and JC Hart is as Hoosier as it gets, and they do some amazing things in our community. And they also wanted me to let you know that they are always looking for awesome people to join their team. They just made the list of best places to work in Indiana for the 13th time. Check out their open positions at homeisjchart.com. Now let's get back into the episode. Incredible. So this launched in 2019. You're, now 6 years into it.
Yep.
How have things been going?
Been very blessed. So it's just important just to keep letting people know about it as we're trying to grow it. And
Yeah, we've tried to develop about a section a year of the neighborhood, right? It's not all done at one time. We develop a section and then develop the next section. And I think we've beat that pace so far.
Yeah.
So that's been nice. And there's still quite a bit to go.
Yeah.
So it's a long project.
It's 500 acres.
Holy smokes.
But there's probably close to 100
living there.
families in the neighborhood now.
Of about 400 that can be
Like
there.
there's a total of 4.
There'll be
and
about
it's-
400
That's the
lots,
thing.
yeah.
These are long-term projects.
Oh, yeah.
Like you don't get into development with like a short, if you're short-sighted. It's like this is a decade-long thing.
Right.
And they're a little larger lots, so we're not like just squeezing you right on top of each other. So they probably average about an acre. We do have an area where there's like half-acre lots, which that's our small lots, which those are huge in some subdivisions.
Yeah.
And we have some lots that are 2 or 3 acres. So it's a really good mix for one spouse that wants a neighborhood living and the other spouse sort of wants to live in the country. We've seen a lot of people settle here because it sort of covers both.
Yeah, you get a good hybrid. Like you're not just totally out in the boonies,
Right.
as my grandma would say, but you also have that, like you're not right on top of each other. You have the farm store, and like I don't know, being able to send your kids out to just like, hey, let's go pet the horse today or whatever, like that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
It's been nice for multi-generational living as well, right? So
Yes.
there's, like he was talking about, there's a variety of lots sizes, but also, some flat lots, some wooded, hilly lots. So to be able to get different things for different people. So there's retirees, there's young families, there's professionals, right? So I think there's even people who, their parents live in the neighborhood, and then their family
also-
in a different.
We have several of those. We've already had several where they're already building their second house in the neighborhood, where they're moving on back to another larger lot or something and wood.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's another part, special part, like small towns, is like, we'll just drop the kids over at grandma's today.
Right, and I think that's important. If we isolate ourselves too much to just the people who are just like us, right, that could be bad for community. But if you have, younger, families, you have, middle-aged families, you have, some elderly people all together in one place, we get to learn from each other and be encouraged by one another in different ways.
Very cool. I mean, Isaac, one interesting piece of your background is, you talked about not wanting to join the family business. You kind of went out, you worked in tech, you did all these crazy things. You ended up coming back and joining the family business. What got you excited, and why did you end up coming back to join the family business?
My dad and I had spoken several times over the years, and he had mentioned, multiple times. I can remember a specific time when we were in Dallas where he said something to me along the lines of, I think you would be good at this. You have this creative mind, but you also, see things in a logical way as well. I don't remember the exact words you said, but I remember him kind of like, telling me that he would like me to think about working in the business.
Yeah.
As you were saying, I was in the Orr Fellowship right out of college.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Come on.
So I got to hear from all of these different business leaders in the community. I learned a lot. I was working as a Salesforce consultant and some other SaaS companies as well as like a consultant or project implementation manager. And
Which is directly correlated to building homes.
Right, but I was able to take everything I learned from those experiences, and I felt like, as my dad and I were talking, I felt like I could bring stuff and help him. So I wanted to help him create a business that could sustain past him, and could scale past him as well, right? So back in the day, I feel like all roads led back to him, which was great, and it led the business to where it was. But to to continue and to be able to grow, there had to be some changes, and I felt like I could bring what I learned in to help him. And so even when I came to join, it wasn't my thought process of this is going to be my long-term home. It was more so I can take what I learned, come to the family business, and help my dad out. And that's how it started, and it's kind of grown from there.
How long into this are we?
That was back in 2017.
So here we are.
I had a hiatus within that time, but yeah.
So I would say it seems as though things are going well.
They are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very blessed. Yeah,
So-
Isaac was able to come in and take basically a cowboy ran company, but it was always my desire to be an ongoing entity for all of our employees, for our customers, and everybody else. So I think that makes us a little bit unique, because most home builders, if something happens to them, it's like, they're like shut down. And we've got an ongoing entity. It's very important that can continue to operate if something happened to me. So that was very important. And he's brought in a lot of technical, we're all in Salesforce and, all the different things. We got processes. We've got, so that was important to try to do that so we could continue to grow and scale the business.
You might be the only custom developer that's in Salesforce.
I think we are.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what the future looks like. So obviously you have Aberdeen, you're rocking and rolling. And I guess to talk about the future, we got to talk about the past. You guys have built over 500 homes over the last 39 years.
Yep, not exactly sure, but probably
Somewhere,
well over that. Yeah.
Well, we did the math. It's over 500.
Yeah.
As you see Indianapolis population growing, over the last decade, Johnson County has grown 16%. How do you feel, what's your prediction for your guys' business, for Central Indiana, for Indiana at large? Where do you see home building going? Is it more popular to continue to build homes? What does that look like for you guys?
I'd love you to add some input here, because I think you can see kind of how things have developed and where things are moving. I think things continue to move away from, Indianapolis specifically out towards the suburbs, and they grow that way. And I think both of us would agree that we don't want to see overdevelopment, right? So I think...
that's interesting to say as the developers.
Right.
That's interesting for you guys to say.
Especially, in small communities where I think he alluded to it earlier, where, people can come in and in a way exploit, the area. It's good that there's new homes, right? Because there's new family creation always happening. So people need a place to live. There's that reality. I think we both just desire it to be done in a way that's thoughtful and considers people and the landscape. Yeah, I think there's plenty of opportunity for the business to continue to grow. And, we've talked about different places that we can grow to, right? Because, again, we don't want to oversaturate our area. We want to be able to serve, around our area and grow to new markets as well. So within Indiana. But I think there are growing places throughout Indiana that are exciting to look at and hopefully be a part of in a thoughtful and helpful way.
We want to try to buy and maintain all of our ground. We're not planning on developing
to keep
our
farmland as well.
Yeah, that's our desire. But it's not fair to tell some farmer or their family, hey, you can't sell, and it just has to be that. That's not right either. So these areas, some people are going to sell, and we can't really help that. We can't shame them saying, well, hey, you shouldn't do that. That's why the ones that do choose to do that. That's why we're trying to be involved and do as much as we can for our community that way. We've also, being entrepreneurial, we also have like a commercial side. We have a renovation side. So we're just trying to grow our brand the best we can in our area too. So
it is interesting because I feel like the further along we go, the more reputation matters, specifically to municipalities. As you guys talked about, serving other neighborhoods and serving other places around Barkersville. It's like if you get known as the cookie cutter production home, blah, 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 it's like they're going to be less likely to want that, and the residents are going to be less receptive to that, I feel like. Versus if you're like, hey, we create something that's beautiful, something that is going to be a staple, a pillar within your community, I think that starts to matter even versus just the utility of we build houses.
And I don't want to, talk down upon production building in any way, because there's a place for that and people need that, right? We talk about there's a housing affordability issue across America, right? And if we could build at that price point for those people, we would. That's we don't have that ability. We don't have that skill set. That's not what we're skilled at. But there's a place for people who can do that at an affordable level. We would hope maybe we can challenge them a little bit to think a little bit more about design.
Yeah.
Right. But
well, that is a huge thing across the nation. One of the biggest, like everyone talks about, like there's a housing shortage. And it's so interesting. We just had Jamal on from Indy Health District.
Okay.
So like down where they're putting the new, there's like a whole district that's being built up there. And he talks about affordability, but also like you don't want all affordable housing. You don't want all luxury housing. You have to like mix and match. And like there are people way smarter than me that have to like figure out how much of each and the numbers behind it all. And it's really, really interesting that a lot of people that I talk to are just like, housing is the issue.
Just costs have just gotten so huge. It's just hard for a lot of people to afford.
Yeah. Well, as you think about the hundreds of homes that you've built and the projects and the communities, what has been one of the most challenging pieces of the last 39 years that you've had to like look in the eyes and get through?
I'd say probably the Depression time here.
Yeah.
06, the 212, but that was one. But it's just constantly, we never can be satisfied. So we've always got to be challenging ourselves. I'm very competitive. So, you get that growing up in Indiana, I think, with some sports and different things. So this is a way to compete. And, growing up, learning from Bobby Knight, it's like, well, sometimes you have to compete against yourself. So you should never, not just necessarily comparing, but you always want to try to be the best you can. And again, I think that's biblical too. So that's one of our biggest challenges, and just to not ever be satisfied, always trying to be, we're trying, Isaac's come in, he's tried to help us a little bit more with, the technology side and just trying to be a little more cutting edge. We want to be the best, and we want our clients to have a great experience. It's not always easy all the time to do that, but that's really our goal, and we strive to do that.
Generally speaking, if you've been in business 39 years, you'll have one or two projects that don't go as well as you want it to, right? And so taking time when things don't go as you hope they would to learn from those difficulties is, I think very important, and something that we lean into, right? Success is the worst teacher, I think a quote goes, right? You need to learn from your losses. You need to learn from the challenges. And I think that's something that's helped us over time as well.
If you look back at the last 39 years, is there a specific project that you were the most proud of?
There's several really cool homes, we've built. And thinking back, I remember the first house we built that was over $130,000. I couldn't believe that. Now you're in multi-million-dollar homes.
Yeah, $130,000. You're like, oh. Yeah.
But one thing, being in Indiana, we built a lot of basketball courts in the homes. So that's really cool, and just a lot of the details like that, where you have, tons of play areas. A lot of people, I'm probably one of those. I'm not one of those that likes to travel real well, which is not good for my wife. She does. But, I like just being home. It seems like we're building a lot of homes where people just like to be home. The partial basketball courts are full court, bowling alleys, the
outdoor living spaces. Golf. Yeah. Wow.
So there's a lot of opportunities to.
What do you
that.
think? So that first house that you built that was over $130,000. What do you think that house is selling for today?
5, 6 something. So yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I wish I could have had something in my contracts when people resell that I got at least a percentage.
Yeah, right. There you go. A little bit of residuals.
Yeah. We've always tried to put our name block since I started on each home and the year it was built. I was always hoping that would help bring value to people's homes when they did resell. So hopefully we've helped a lot of families that way over the years.
Well, that is the thing about having a reliable brand for almost 40 years and like being family owned. I think people really appreciate that. And you talk about failure being the ultimate teacher. Like when you have hard times. Yeah. Like one thing I love about family-owned businesses is, you don't. If you're the type that make excuses or the type that like blah blah, it's someone else's blah, and you don't just own it and learn from it and get better and make it right. Like that's how you last almost
Absolutely.
40 years.
I always tell everybody, customers always try to tell them this is, I'm not going to promise you everything's going to be perfect, but we're going to take care of you.
Yeah.
If I promise you everything's going to be perfect, that we're going to be a liar, because that's not, you can't.
But if they truly believe you and you have a track record of making it right and like taking care of your people, that's That's the ticket there. All right, we've come to the part of the show where we talk just all things Indiana home building. We're gonna go. It's not necessarily rapid fire, but we're gonna kind of clip through these. So the first question. I had actual multiple people ask me to ask this question in regards when once we had some Southsiders on. So the question is, what is your prediction for Center Grove in the next 10 years?
Well, I see us winning the state football championship a few more times.
Hey, there we go.
But no, it's going to continue. Center Grove's done a really nice job of continuing as bond issues go off, which I learned a lot of this. My dad was on the school board and I was in high school. So, but I mean, as bond issues go off, they're being proactive and adding things so your tax rates aren't going up.
Can you explain that?
Just as your school's growing, I mean, you have to get like bond issues for borrowing and all that stuff
to continue to school size.
Yeah, so they've done a great job of always keeping everything updated well and adding things, as they go and when they can without having to raise our taxes. And a lot of people complain about where taxes are anyway. But some school systems, if you don't do that, then you have to come and build a whole new high school later. It just skyrockets your property taxes. So they've done a great job of doing that, which has really helped, I think, appreciation just in our school district, for homes and so on too. Our property taxes aren't, it's just because it's a little more valuable. They're at a little higher at places like other places, but they've done a nice job and we have good facilities and good people. And
Isaac, your prediction for Center Grove in 10 years?
When we say Center Grove, Bargersville and Greenwood make up the area that Center Grove is in. And so Bargersville is growing a lot. It's cool to see that growth. Again, I don't want to see the overdevelopment, like I've said, but to see, those new places, whether it's restaurants or different amenities coming, that's cool. The school system itself, my kids have just entered into elementary school, so it's great to see, the innovation happening within the school system. And I would see, it's probably going to grow quite a bit over the next 10 years. Hopefully not too much, but but I would continue to see or look out for them to be, up there and competing in sports, at the highest level.
That 69 corridor between Martinsville and Center Grove area, I don't know. I think that could have some interesting.
Yeah, I still personally think it's going to be a little while for the Martinsville side, but I think it's going to definitely help right there. It's just drawn us all closer together. People can go to some different schools sometimes too if it's allowed or accepted. So that's a thing. But yeah, no, we're just in a really good location. That's why it's been a fast growing area, because just our proximate location just right south. I mean, we're you got 135 Meridian Street. Go straight up to the circle. Runs through our school district. We're so close to the airport. Downtown. I mean, we can be at the airport quickly. We can be, Harry and Izzy's and eat quickly, or to the Pacer games. You can still be down in Bloomington 35 minutes. So it's just a great location, and people see that. It's a great area to raise your family. I think you see a lot of families out eating at the restaurants here that I don't know if we necessarily see as much on the north side.
One of my questions was going to be to pitch me the south side versus the north side. There you go. You just gave me the pitch.
Well, I'm a true south sider, so I've got.
Well, one thing I enjoyed though is I would say I feel like there's a down to earth. Everything's not flashy. There are people who have generational businesses and or work professionally who are on the south side, and it's a very down-to-earth type of atmosphere, and that's what I enjoy about it.
A lot of giving. I mean, we have some, pretty major people like car dealers and stuff. Well, they live in the Center Grove area, and they're very, very giving to, to schools, to churches, and different things. So it's just, it's just a great area to live.
You did mention in 2021, I believe you guys are part of Homerama.
Yes.
Can you talk to me about what that looks like, what the process is, and what that means for your business?
Yeah, it was a very beneficial to our neighborhood to get it known about. So unfortunately, it was just coming out of the COVID time, so that didn't help a lot.
So because there's Dream Home and Homerama and all these different. Can you explain what for those that might not know what that is?
Yeah, the Builders Association puts this on every year, and it seems like it's on the north side most of the time, but trying to keep it down here some. But yeah, in 21, I mean, there was 6
annual
builders.
Event where there's typically 6 to 13 builders who build a show home
decorated.
Typically on the same street so that people can come through, for a couple hours, walk through all of these homes, get ideas, or just be inspired in some way.
Not a contest, though.
There's
Sometimes
awards.
there's contests in it for the builders too, or the People's Choice Awards, or this and that.
Best of show, best kitchen. I don't know if they do that anymore.
Yeah, we used to always try to win all those things when we did them in the past. But yeah, I mean, we being the builder and developer, we had to host, preparing for 15,000 people to come through with parking. We have people movers and all that type of stuff involved. Plus, we built a couple homes in it ourselves. So it's quite a bit of an activity, and you usually have to sleep a few times before you decide to do it again.
Sleep review, that's fun. Speaking of that, you're right, of like what's popular, people are going through, what's the biggest trend in home building right now in Indiana?
I'd say outdoor living is huge. Just having things for, a lot of people have workspaces at home, activity things for kids because everybody wants, all the kids to come to their house, things like that. We see a lot of different styles. A lot of them get mixed, but you got your moderns, your farmhouses. There's so many different styles out there.
There's a little bit of a move to timelessness in design, right? People desire to not build something that's going to be trendy for five years and then have to renovate their whole home to change. And so I think maybe sometimes that's moving away from the modern farmhouse and more towards something that is a little bit more timeless. I think we see a lot of mixing of different types of materials a lot of times as well. So whether that's stone or different types of the materials, wood in the house in different ways. You just see a lot of different materials being combined to kind of create depth inside the home too.
Yeah. A lot more technology, involved.
Like, what are some of the craziest features you've put into a house?
Totally control every light switch from your phone, doors, and so on like that. The automatic screens, people love those on their porches. Just fire pit areas, just pools. I mean, do a lot of
lots
pools.
Of elevators.
Yeah, elevators.
That's crazy.
Lots of indoor basketball courts or
golf
trampolines.
simulators. Just a lot of different things. So it's sort of fun. Everybody comes in with their thing that they like, and we try to help question them to make sure they're getting. We tell people we're going to do what you want, but we really want you to think through things. We want to make sure it's something that you're going to live well in. A lot of people come wanting it to be their last home, so we're doing a lot of curbless showers and things like that. So just makes it where you can, live there for a long time. Larger hallways, doors. Just trying to do everything very, upscale inside the home. So
around the south side, when you're in Greenwood or down around Bargersville, where's the go-to spot to grab lunch?
Shoot, I'll go to a Mexican restaurant a lot myself if I'm going to, but yeah. So I know the place that we like to go to supper though is our table down there.
Our table.
Yeah.
What's our table?
It's sort of an upscale little restaurant off 135 and Whiteland Road in Bargersville. It's been named top 100 in the country a couple times.
Wow, this is
it's actually in one of our properties, one of our retail centers, and so I'll plug it too. And we built it out. So
wow, Our Table American Bistro. This is a dinner spot, 5 to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Wow, what do you get there?
I've tried about everything. I get the filet a lot, or I'll like their flatbread. They have great walleye. I've tried about everything on there.
Wild Argentinian shrimp.
No, it's a great place. So that's just your evening, but right on the other side of it, down a bit, there's like the Knuckle, which is a really cool. If you want like a '50s diner and has like an old car in the middle, and
the Knuckle,
do the challenges. So
I'd say for lunch, downtown Bargersville. Sellers Market has, it's a hidden gem. Some good
Coffee
food there.
House 5.
Wow. Wait.
3 Mexican restaurants in Bargersville. So.
Gotta have those. Wait. This place is called the Knuckle Sandwich?
Yes.
That place rocks. Oh,
it's
that's
cool interior.
50s and 60s diner.
A lot of people like that.
Okay, gentlemen, we're rounding out the show. We end every show asking the same 3 questions to every guest that come on. The first one being, we'll start with Isaac.
Yep.
Boom, boom, boom,
Yep.
boom. We'll go back and forth. Isaac, what's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
It's a great balanced place is my best summary. I love Indiana because of my deep heritage here. I love it because all the people I care about are here, but I also think it's a great place to raise a family. I have 4 kids, and I'd say that because of there's a lot of balance. You have great cities, but then you have these great suburbs and rural areas. It has a great balance of being laid back and driven, right? You can go escape to these places or live in areas where you have this laid back atmosphere, but then there's lots of people creating businesses. There's lots of great businesses already established here that you can be a part of. So you have that balance there. And then I think there's this openness of discussion and collaboration also mixed with rooted tradition. You have all of these things that I think there's just a good balance between lots of different things here in Indiana.
Yeah, I think we're 1 day's drive from like 60% of the population in the United States here in Indiana, if I've always heard on the logistics side. So sort of puts you, that's why, sort of Crossroads,
Shipping,
Circle City, all that
manufacturing,
type
yeah.
of stuff. You see a lot of things, but it is, I'll echo what Isaac said. It's where, it's where we're from. I love it. I feel like God put us here. We go to all these different places and see oceans and waters and other things. But I come home, I love seeing my flowing, cornfields.
Yeah.
I like seeing my cows.
And your neighbors.
And our neighbors. So,
I always say Indiana's about the
hospitality
people.
is real here. It's
Yeah.
real. So, and people that come in and visit, notice that.
This is the question. There's a spot somewhere here in the state of Indiana that more people need to know about. Yeah. What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
Well, besides Bargersville and Aberdeen, me and my wife love going down like to French Lick and just seeing like the West Baden Hotel and playing some golf there. Whenever
you play
I have
at Pete Dye?
Yes, I've played it a couple times.
Wow,
it's awesome. Yeah.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Never played, but
yeah, it's nice. So that and if I have people come in from out of town, I don't go through the 500. I'm not like a big crowd guy or whatever. As much I've been several times, but I love taking them to the Brickyard Golf Course. It's one of my favorite ones. And they walk in on, I think it was number 7, I think it is, a par 3, and you're inside the course, and their eyes are just like, I cannot believe how big that is. So I think that's really cool.
Both of those. The first time you go in the Speedway and the first time you see West Baden, it's like astonishing.
It's very.
They're very, very, like when you walk in, because the dome at West Baden is kind of like, not creepy, but it's very just like it makes you just like stop and reflect a little bit.
And when it was built, and it was the largest dome until the Hoosier Astrodome.
Yeah, down in Houston, right? Yeah, which is nuts. Like that's just crazy to me. And it was just here, the Carlsbad of America, and like if you look back at the whole thing, it's like this very relaxing spa somewhere over in Europe or whatever, and they wanted to build that here. It's nuts.
It's cool. Yeah.
I love that it take those things that take your breath away here in Indiana. Same thing when you get to the top of the Pete Dye course, and you look out and you're like, how the heck is this Indiana? Isaac, what is a hidden gem in Indiana?
You stole my French Lick answer,
Sorry.
But I will say Cataract Falls. Near Spencer, Indiana. I took my family there this past year, and we had a really great time. I don't know if you're allowed to get in the water, and I think you are in certain areas, but my kids loved kind of just playing, by the water's edge and looking at the waterfalls. And
they're real waterfalls.
You don't really expect to see that view in Indiana, and it's really cool.
Amen. I love that. Final question, gentlemen. This is where we get new guests or people that are just need to be on our radar. So who's a Hoosier that we need to keep on our radar? Someone who's doing big things.
My good buddy, Coach Moore at Center Grove Football. He would be an awesome guest here, and just a great guy. He's really shaped a lot of kids and helped in our community really well.
How long has he been the coach?
2000, almost 25 years now, I think. So I would highly recommend him. He's from Indiana, played at IU.
I would say Johnny Marlin down on the south side. He started Marlin Academy back in the day, training kids in basketball, and it's kind of grown over the past 10 years. And they're actually building this very large facility down on the south side called the Arc. You might be able to tell some more details on that, but it's a really cool.
We're going to be involved helping them with that, and it's 7 courts, 1 featured court, which we really need that on the south
what
side.
What do you mean by featured court?
Basketball courts.
Oh yeah.
But featured court meaning it has like the stands.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
where you could have games, or small schools could have games.
Yeah, because you think about the north side, they have like Grand Park, they have they have that, they have the other thing.
We're in a great need of that on the south side. It's also set up. We're going to have volleyball courts and games and things too, and other training, baseball training. So we're excited about that, getting that in a neighborhood. And it's neat. Him and Isaac grew up together. Me and his dad coached AAU basketball together, with them, and just seeing him take that. He played at IU for a while, and So yeah, we're excited to see
That's
that.
awesome.
Yep.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on and telling the story of Duke Holmes. 39 years. Next year's a big 4-0.
Yep.
Four.
Means I'm old.
Well, you started young, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Over 500 homes. You have Aberdeen wellness lifestyle community.
right.
There we go. It only took the entire show for me to get it right. If people want to learn more about Aberdeen, if they want to learn more about the project that you're interested in and things like that, how can they find you guys? Where can they connect?
Yeah, go to dukehomes.com or aberdeenliving.com. You can find us on social media as well at Duke Homes handle or Aberdeen Living handle.
If people want to learn more, I think that Aberdeen is a very interesting piece that might resonate with some people. If they want to learn more about what that entails, like how would you recommend like getting plugged in to learn more about the wellness lifestyle community?
Yeah, we have information on the website, so that's the number one resource.
Yeah.
We're recording a lot of videos out there, so we can kind of help explain what's going on there as well, which we'll be putting on our social medias. And we have tours that people can schedule just to come down and see what's going on there. So
And maybe just go like check out the farm market,
Yep.
get a little treat,
Yep.
buy some eggs.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Some beef.
And some beef. I'm gonna have,
Don't forget the beef.
Yeah. Gentlemen, I appreciate you coming on today. I appreciate you sharing the story. It was awesome to learn more about this. I mean, now second generation family business, but you guys have been here for a minute. You've been in the Hoosier State for
Proud Hoosiers. Yeah.
eight generations?
Nine
right?
generations
Nine.
is my
the
kids,
the
yeah.
kids are the ninth generation.
Yeah.
Like almost 10 generations here in Indiana. I love it. We appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all of my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.